Hello and a very good morning to everyone. We are in Game Week 27 Deadline stream. My name is Hafiz and as usual, would like to welcome Azmin to the stream. How are you to this morning?
Ugh, it's one of those weeks where there's just too much to try to think about, and I guess this is what happens when I don't wildcard and follow. now I'm in a lot of dilemmas that I need to settle.
Yep, we definitely will run through all the team news and quotes by manager from yesterday press conference as we want to plan for this double game week 27, of which four teams going to play twice, which is Brighton, Brentford, Crystal Palace, and Southampton. And you can see the title for our deadline stream today is tripling up on the Brighton and Brentford players. So let's have a quick look how the Game Week 27 fixtures pan out. We'll definitely have an early kickoff at 8:30 p.m. with Bournemouth against Liverpool, who is actually having a high moral after 7-0 win last week. And at the same time, Bournemouth really down after losing two goal up against Arsenal and then losing 3-2 finally. And then we have at 10 p.m., we have four matches, Everton versus Brentford. Everton now at 18th place, and they are fighting against Brentford, who actually had a good result last week. We then have Leeds United, who also at the relegation battle at 17th place. They are fighting a high free scoring team, Brighton, who are actually really on top right now. We have then at 11 p.m. Leicester versus Chelsea. Chelsea on the back-to-back game winning after against Leeds United and then midweek against Champions League match, Borussia Dortmund, and then the inconsistent Spurs, who actually lost in midweek Champions League out from the competition against AC Milan. They are fighting against Nottingham Forest. At 1:30 a.m., we have Crystal Palace, a depleted squad against Man City, who has been consistent of late. And on Sunday, we have Fulham versus Arsenal, another London derby. Arsenal on high flying against Bournemouth last week. We have Manchester United, who already bounced back against Real Betis Europa League match. So they are fighting against Southampton at 19th place right now. And then we have West Ham United, who did win in midweek again in Europa Conference League again Ike Larnaca, okay, if I've pronounced it right, against Villa. And then we close off, at least for Sunday, Newcastle versus Wolves. Newcastle badly needs a return. And then in midweek, we have these four teams who are going to play double: Brighton, Crystal Palace, and then Southampton against Brentford. There's a lot of traffic of these Brighton and Brentford players we shall share later. So, man, let's jump straight into the team news. We go first to your team, Bournemouth versus Liverpool. What has been the manager saying, man?
So not much changes with Bournemouth. It's just Jefferson Lima, as mentioned that it's touch and go. Tough and go, is that what you said? Touch and go. I don't know. So anyway, but in terms of Liverpool, nothing new really. So Thiago and Joe, as mentioned, is out. So we got Diaz, who's going to return to training, which is really good news. So now with Firmino and Jota already back as well, and then with Diaz expecting, it's looking good. I don't know if it's probably too late for us for the Champions League, but yeah, it'll definitely help us as we pursue the top four finish. So you mentioned earlier about Bournemouth and how they were pretty much demoralized last week, and I have to admit that when you look at it as a human, it's definitely very damaging because you score in like the 10th second and then you lose in like the last minute of the match. Oh, that's gotta hurt. It's such a crushing blow. Of course, Bournemouth are at home for this one, but it's not looking good for Bournemouth at the moment. And those of you who probably didn't wildcard and still have Salah, I don't know. I haven't seen any team out there who wildcarded and still kept Salah last week. I don't know. Yeah, so I haven't seen one. Yeah, but anyway, those who still have Salah and the likes of Nunes. So the question with Nunes is whether or not he'll continue to start, and I don't think that's a question. Even though Firmino and Jota are back fit, but we've seen how on its day how destructive Salah, Gakpo, and Nunes, all three scoring 2 goals each last week. Although admittedly Manchester United just disappeared after about the 50 plus minute. Yeah, but there's anyway no reason for Klopp to change a winning team, so they go again.
Okay, are you worried about any rotation coming to Champions League match in midweek?
No, so this is the first match for Liverpool, so I don't see any harm going. I don't see any rotation issues for this one. I expect to see the same team coming out. But of course, the worry is the likes of Nunes and Gakpo will probably be subbed early. But then, those of you who have him know that this happens anyway. So if you are the risks. Whereas Salah almost always gets 90 minutes.
If I'm still not wildcarding and I have the likes of Salah, Nunes, Gakpo, even TAA, I'm pretty sure comfortable to play them this week. No reason to take them out. I did watch a member stream Fantasy Football Scout. Mark Sudden did mention he still has Salah in his team and TAA, and he has no reason to take him out. So I believe I agree with him.
The other thing is that it's because Liverpool don't have a match during the weekend, so it should be enough time for them to have full strength squads for both matches.
All right, let's go to the next match, which is Everton versus Brentford. There's a lot of interest in Brentford players. So what has been both managers been saying?
All right. So the main thing is that you may see some changes with Everton. We're not sure. Which is Michael Lenko might come in, and if he does, it'll be great because he's definitely an upgrade over Godfrey, which is what's been predicted. So at the moment, it looks like Gray is the first choice at striker. I think there's a lot of commentary going on about Dijk and Mopé, but looks like Mopé has pretty much. I think it's an attitude problem. We've seen it before at Brighton, and now at Everton, it's showing it out. Dijk is not that type who suffers through attitude issues. So that's the main thing. Forget about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We'll see you next year. See you next season whether it's still any relevant. Okay, so more importantly, in terms of Brentford, no issues whatsoever for Brentford, at least where our key picks are concerned. Now, who are our key picks? We've got Tony, the likes of Tony, me, Pinnock, Henry, and Raya Martin. So those are your 5 most popular FPL picks. It's so no changes there. I expect to see the same lineup. There is the only worry a bit is in terms of rotations, but I think Tony is immune from rotation, but the likes of Wissa may change. But the back 4 and the keeper should stay the same, so I don't think it's an issue for FPL.
All right, looks everything is good for Brentford players. Okay, next we go to Leeds versus Brighton, another team, Brighton, who actually play double, and there are some interest quotes by Zerbi in terms of the goalkeeping department and also Solimach fitness. So would like to know any latest news, man?
All right, so for Leeds, it really is the same, but the Leeds manager has been a bit smoke screen a bit in terms of his injuries, but otherwise it's same old. I don't think we're going to consider them today. We just consider looking at Leeds where the impact on Brighton is concerned. Okay, so that's fine. So but no changes. So in terms of Brighton, so there's a bit of mystery quips by the manager regarding Solly March and Levy Colwill are on the list for tomorrow. So my interpretation is simply that because we know that March has had a couple of nickels ongoing, but when he says on the list tomorrow, I think he's fit, and when he's fit, he'll play. So no issues there. other than that, the normal. So with regards to the keeper situation, it does look like Steele is going to be the person for now until further notice. If and those of you who follow Black Box, as is one of the hosts, and he's a hardcore Brighton fan.
Brighton fans.
So to him, his opinion is that actually this Steele thing, he feels, if I remember correctly, is that Steele is pretty much a stopgap. So he's still not the best keeper either way, but he just fits into the current style that Brighton are playing. And but come the come the summer, then we're looking for another keeper. But regardless, for now it's Steele, yeah, unless he screws up pretty badly. I think Steele's pretty. I agree. I think he's pretty much locked that in. So the question now is for us to decide is between March, McAllister, and Mitoma. Those, I think most people are already set. Most people who wildcarded are already set. So it's just a question of, are they worth captaining? And and they are, because the theory is that Brighton are capable of scoring more goals, but with Brentford, you've got Tony, who's pretty much the focal point of any attack. So that's a big question that needs to be answered.
All right. So pretty much, pretty much, if you're wildcarding this week, looks like if you're interested in this 3.9 million Jason Steele from Brighton, you could do that. Okay. And there also some strategy. If let's say people are thinking about bench boosting this week and they have like Sanchez at their bench, they could actually make a tweak selling Sanchez to Steele and play your bench if you want to. All right. In terms of Solimash, I guess you just play him and hope for the best, and hopefully he starts 2 games. That's what I feel.
Yep, agreed.
All right, let's go to the next match. My team against Leicester. Leicester do play. There's some interest, okay, because they do play in game week 28, and then they double in game week 29, and pretty much we are looking at most probably the James Maddison news if there is in terms of their fitness, and then Chelsea, they have some latest news in terms of injury. So what has been happening for both teams?
Right, so Leicester, there's a bit of issue. So fine with Maddison, he's declared himself fit, blah blah blah. He's going to play. Although to be fair, he was the better player last week, but they still lost against Southampton. So you wonder maybe he's not 100% himself. Harvey Barnes is a big issue though. He did get injured in last week, and something to do with his ankle. But it looks like he may be involved. But as you can see from the predicted lineup, you got Pratt there. But which is the problem, because Pratt isn't exactly a winger, and unlike Barnes is. So this does create an issue and makes you wonder whether and further tweaks might be necessary. Would Maddison move to the left, for example, and the likes of Tillsman might come in? Because that I don't like that projection at all, because I don't think Pratt is. I think if you put shift Maddison, obviously Maddison's preferred position is at the number 10 role, but in the absence of Barnes, then it'll be a problem. But the thing with Leicester is that they have lost 3 or 4 matches in a row now, or haven't won. So it's a problem for Leicester. They're in a bit of a downward spiral at the moment. So tweaks might be possible. And as someone who has Nacho, I am a bit worried in terms of whether or not it's worth risking.
Okay.
So yeah, something to consider. But on the other hand, on the Chelsea side, there's quite a few issues as well. We know that Silva is out, and now apparently Reece James is ill. All this, so much issue about people being ill, but no one. But we don't know. We just don't know what exactly is he ill of. So and how serious it is. But yeah, that's it for Reece James. I think those of us who are looking at Chelsea's revival, and then let's just ignore James for the moment. It's just the risk is just too much. So Sterling is also a doubt, and this is going to be a key problem because Sterling has always been one of the brighter sparks in the Chelsea attack. But other than that, forget about Aubameyang. That's it. So the question is, will Chelsea be able to? Will Leicester be able to hold off against Chelsea? and they just might. I'm not
Yep.
confident with Chelsea in this. I think with Reece James out as well, once again it upsets the balance a bit as well, because Loftus Cheek is nowhere of the quality of Reece James, and without Silva at the back, it's going to be an issue as well.
All right. So just want to point out a bit. We already know that Potter has declared Reece James is out for 27, and I'm not sure whether that's a short term or long term one. But the other point that I want to make, that people who are working this week, I can see there's some traffic in terms of Chelsea asset at the back. Chilwell already came into consideration, so that's another point that I want to make. And they actually Chilwell produced an assist last week, so that's where people are going looking at. Let's go to the next one. Spurs versus Forest. I know people are still trusting on Kane, but they already out from Champions League match competition. So I'm not sure what's their moral right now. So what's the latest news for both teams?
Yeah, Spurs on a bit of downward spiral at the moment. So fine, Emerson didn't train. There were also some. Okay, so all those injuries aside, there's also some remarks regarding Richarlison, who took to social media complaining about him not getting enough time. But apparently Conte did respond to it and say, yeah, he had, and then but the way he responded, it was also a bit snarky. He said that Richarlison has been playing shit. He admitted that he's playing shit. So, but the reality is, and this someone took this stat out for me, and I didn't know at all. I didn't realize it all. So ever since, I mean, he was playing for Everton at the start, and then he's moved to. My point is, Richarlison has not scored at all this season in the Premier League. It's incredible stat. I totally did not see that. It's sure when Richarlison first came in, he was a spark for Spurs when he first came in, but then at the end of the day, he has still not scored a single goal this season, which to me is just a bit of lack of self-awareness until when Richarlison took to social media complaining. At the end of the day, he hasn't scored. So this points out to Conte. But the other problem is with Conte. So the remarks that he made after the Champions League, it seems like has he given up or something? Because in the Champions League, he had a player Romero sent off, and then they went down to 10. Supposedly, the sharp-eyed observers were watching the match and saw that Kane apparently went up to Conte asking, "How do we play now?" And Conte was like, "I don't have a clue." So it's really worrying, and the Conte's remarks to the press aren't helping. It looks like, does he want to get fired? I don't know. Don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So it's a real trouble. Having said that, they are against Forest this week, and Forest again still short of their key centre backs. But the good news is that Kouyate seems to have returned to training. If he's fit, he'll start in the middle there. But we know that Forest away is a different animal from Forest at home. So Spurs should get a win here, and those of us who those who wildcarded last week, brought in Kane. Obviously they wanted him to return last week and he didn't, but they'll want him to return this week as well. And this is the match where you'd expect, in the double game week, he's a single player, you'd expect 2 goals from Kane.
Azmin looks more optimistic in terms of Kane output. I'm not too ambitious on that, but we shall see.
You were optimistic last week as well.
So so that's what happened. In terms of Spurs, that the only people that are going to consider is Kane. Other than it's not, but for us it's also a good consideration. They play in GW28 and then they double in 2029. I think there's some favorable fixtures in terms of Forest players. Brandon Johnson, it scored twice last week, and then you know what the output from Borg against White, and so I think that's something to look at. Okay, let's go to the next match, which is Palace versus Man City. People are thinking dropping Haaland in wildcard team. So I'm not too sure about that. Palace do play double this week. So any interest, we shall see on the team news for both teammates.
Right, so Palace, obviously last week Zaha came back, so he's fine, so he's good. And although he was, maybe he was a bit lacking in match fit, sharpness, but I think he should be okay now. But more importantly, it is that missing in the middle with Chick Decore suspended, and which is a big loss for for Palace, and we know that Palace haven't won this year at all. They haven't won for quite a while actually. So it's going to be a tough ask for them to get 3 points against City. So City, they are they haven't looked themselves. They haven't looked right themselves, but even though they managed to get points, continue to compile points, but they haven't looked explosive. This is one of the reasons why those of us who didn't wildcard are trying to look into um, transferring in for planning for 27, 28 are selling Haaland for the likes of Tony. Really rare, but because comparing between Haaland and Tony, there's questions as to Haaland as a single game week can outscore double game week players, and currently the general consensus for those is that it's a 50-50 thing. I have Haaland myself, and I'm struggling because I don't have Tony, and the best way for me to get to Tony is by selling Haaland. But at the same time, I'm aware of the fact that Palace have been rubbish. Haaland scored a hat trick against Palace the last time out. Okay, and at the same time, Crystal Palace's central midfielder Chick Decore is very important to their keeping control of that midfield is out as well. So I'm swinging towards keeping Haaland and finding some other way.
All right, that situation in Palace, not so much interest unless you want to go about Zaha. Other than that, really not a go. So let's go to the next match, man. Fulham versus Arsenal. Fulham has not been performing of late. Paniha will serve his second match ban for this match. And on the other side, there's some worry in terms of Arsenal assets. What's the latest news, man?
Okay, so Fulham, the key thing is Palhinha again, just like Palace, same problem. The central midfielder is serving the second match, but I'm not sure I agree with the narrative about Fulham being a bit poor of late. Okay, I've lost Hafiz. Don't worry, I'll just continue. So because Fulham, sure they Mitrovic hasn't returned, and sure but they are still scoring goals. And okay, if I take a look at the last 5 matches, okay, which includes the FA Cup, they've won against Forest 2-0, they won against Brighton 1-0. They drew against Fulham. They drew against Wolves 1-1. In the FA Cup, they won against Leeds 2-0. And finally, last week, they lost against Brentford, but they lost 2-3. So they still scored goals. So Fulham, I don't know why people are saying Fulham aren't looking as good as they used to be, because if you look at the record, they're still doing well. It could possibly be some FPL bias because Mitrovic hasn't scored, hasn't been involved in most of those goals. But other than that, they are still scoring goals and still get points. In fact, in the last 5 minutes, they've only lost once, which was against. So that's why that's enough of my Fulham spiel. So coming to Odegaard, okay. So for Arsenal, missed the UAL game with illness, so I don't know whether will get any news this week whether he's continued training. I'm not sure, but it does make it easy for those of you who've wildcarded but still have Odegaard in their team. So Odegaard makes sense to just go to the bench, at the risk, so that saves themselves the trouble. Trossard and Ketia nursing minor injury, so this means that Martinelli has a chance of playing up front. So how Arsenal, so there will be some tweaks there, especially if Odegaard isn't available, then there's a bit more of a tweak. So you have Martinelli, but the predicted lineup has Nelson, but I don't see why Smith Rowe couldn't come in there as well. At the same time, it says that Gabriel Jesus has returned to training but is yet to make a match for the squad. I actually think that Jesus may make the squad this week.
Okay.
But probably he'll be on the bench. So I don't think Nelson will be there. I think Smith Rowe will be there.
Right, pretty much I can say Inkitia time is up, so you can actually forget about him and concentrate on other Arsenal assets. I think this is the match that Arsenal going to play. But if you're on wildcard, most probably a lot of Arsenal assets you're going to bench in terms of their defense or even Odegaard. It could be Saka if you have other Brighton midfielders. But the rest is ni. Arsenal do play in game week 28. You still have interest. But then after that, game week 29, they only play single match. So that could be another way out for Arsenal assets. Next match, main. Okay, Manchester United versus Southampton. Manchester did bounce back during midweek against Real Betis. But at the same time, Southampton coming back of a 1-0 win last week against Leicester. So they pretty much on the good side in terms of results. So what's the latest news for both teams?
So no changes for Manchester United. It's pretty much same. Although Sabitzer not being around is, so I don't think he'll be back either for this one. The key players are all back for Manchester United, and so the question is the bounce back already done for Manchester United? So we'll see a more relaxed Manchester United for this week or this weekend, or will we still see a avenging angel of Manchester United after last weekend? But the thing is, they face Southampton, who are a bit more, who have appeared to be a bit more resilient of late. Okay, so sure they got knocked out of the FA Cup, but they won in the past 3 Premier League matches. They've lost against Leeds United 1-0, won against Leicester 1-0, and won against Chelsea 1-0. So and regardless of the win or loss, but it also means they've had a bit more defensive solidity as well. They're not conceding goals. So that it'll be interesting to see. This is quite an interesting match, I would think. And it's a reason why I was considering James Ward-Prowse. One of the stats that came out in my, as I'm struggling to find out what to do, is the fact that Manchester United are the top. Okay, thanks. Manchester United are at the top of top 4 in terms of headed attempts conceded. Yeah, so that means that James Ward-Prowse is going to generate a lot of points in terms of probably big challenges, something like what Trippier does for Newcastle. But we do not. It translates into goals. That's the problem because they don't really have great goal scorers. So that's thing. And don't worry. And I'm not worried about the missed penalty with Ward-Prowse. I like the comment he made after the match where he wished it was a free kick instead of a penalty. So that's he's a funny guy there. So it'd be interesting because remember that Southampton also play a midweek match as well. So something to think about.
Yep. We all know JWP. He can produce out of nowhere. But to me, when I have him, he will troll me. So pretty much it's against Manchester United and Brentford to consider a good team. So that's the cons on that decision. But you just never know about JWP. He could actually produce double digit at any time. Let's go to the next match, which is West Ham versus Villa. Okay, not much interest because they're not going to play double this week. But what's the latest news for both teams?
Yeah, so for biggest news for West Ham, aside from Fabianski availability, but I think Areola will continue to start. But for me, the biggest news is the face that Cornet is fit. And, the thing is, Cornet is, I think West Ham need to forget about him in the starting 11. But as an impact player, I think he could do well for West Ham. So Villa, no changes as well, except for Diego Carlos possibly returning, but I think it'll still be the same. This is Ings' first match against his former club, Aston Villa. So there'll be some key things there, but of course, where FPL is concerned, we're not looking at them. And even if someone was wildcarding this week, I don't think we're really looking at Ings as well. I think he'll score now. I think he'll score.
I can see Antonio might not play because he actually pick up a knock. So Ings pretty much can start. We all know about Ings. He can score at any time. He's most probably the penalty taker for West Ham anyway, right?
Yeah, okay. He is, and he will score. I guarantee it.
All right, we go to the last match, which is Newcastle versus Wolves. Okay, Wolves did win against Spurs last week, and Newcastle lost 2-0 against Man City. So, what's latest news for both teams?
Okay, so Newcastle, it looks like Shah, who was absent last week, should be back for this one. Uh, and Jolinton, it continues to be suspended, but other than that, everyone else is there. More importantly, Bruno G is there, but I keep understating. I keep overstate. I feel like sometimes I overstate the importance of Bruno G to the squad because at the end of the day, Newcastle have not won yet this year either, just like
Okay.
Palace. So it's a bit of a problem as well for Newcastle. What's going on there? They've really dropped. Okay, I think we ignore that.
In terms of league table, they already dropped behind Liverpool. They are actually at sixth place. So, pretty much telling about this situation in
Yeah.
Newcastle.
Yeah, so I'm actually just scrolling back to see when was the last. Oh no, they did win this year once on 15 Jan, but after that it's been no Premier League wins at all. And they drew against Palace, drew against West Ham, teams that previously they were expected to win. Even Bournemouth they couldn't win against. They drew. So anyway, coming to Wolves who have won last week against Spurs, no less. So no real changes there. You expect to see the same. However, another interesting stat turned up yesterday. Apparently, was the anniversary of the last time that a Wolves striker scored a goal. How bad is that? 1 year. It was someone replied to me on Twitter. Yeah, about how even though Wolves won against Spurs, let's not forget that Wolves no forward has scored for a year. So it's quite
And somewhat I can read out here, Julian Lopetegui did mention Costa will be out for a while.
yeah. So Jimenez should get the start of Pi Chang isn't ready either. But it's a tough call. This could end up a draw as well. But Newcastle know they need to win this one.
Yep.
Otherwise, all that good faith, all that form that last at the start of the season is all going to go to waste.
Yep, we want Mr. Trippier to come back into the mix in terms of points.
Oh yes, that too.
So we shall see. All right. Pretty much we already covered all the team news. Let's go the transfer traffic for GW27. There is no surprise. Top 5 dominated by Brentford and also Brighton players. Number 1 currently is actually Mitoma at 674,000. Managers have bring the Japanese midfielder in. Then we can see Mr. Tony not far away at 658,000. Estupinan, okay, the Brighton defender, 398,000. You can see there, McAllister at fourth, 298, and slightly below than him. Ben Me, 290,000. Pretty much maybe a lot of wildcarding managers also doing this transfer. So pretty much this have been dominated by these two teams. And then in terms of top 5 transfer out, Mr. Mahrez, yeah, pretty much he did not play last week. If you still have him, he really need to go from your team. 390,000 managers has brought him out. Odegaard, okay, slightly down. He also out from this inside this transfer out. Traffic 363,000. Inketia, who are down and also injured, and pretty much Jesus are coming back. 252,000 managers has moved him out. KDB also in this list. And then Mr. Almiron, who at one point, pretty much a lot of managers bring him in, he is now the 5th most transfer this week. So what you can make out from this traffic transfer?
So I was just wanting to find when did you do the screenshot?
Just pretty much before we came in into the stream.
Okay. All right. So at the moment I'm looking, it looks like me has overtaken McAllister.
Okay.
but it doesn't matter because it's still same. But I just wanted to see because where Salah was, and if you at one point Salah was really gaining popularity, and Salah is at number 6 at the moment in terms of transfers game week. So anyway, but other than that, no surprises really. I'm trying to decide which of the 5 I'm going to join. Oh, wait, I already have me, but I don't. I already have a me and Mitoma. So now do I want to look at Tony, Estupian, or McAllister? But at the moment, I've ruled out Brighton really. So, but yeah, no surprises at all this time. And Odegaard getting transferred out. I don't know if this is as a reaction to that him missing the midweek, but it's not surprising. So no surprises this one.
All right, this is the transfer traffic. Just a quick one on the ban list. There's no returning players, but just to mention, Joe Linton will be banned for the next two games after picking up 10 yellow cards last week against Man City. I can see his frustration when received the yellow card. And Paliha will serve his second match ban against Arsenal this week. Is a big player for Fulham. And then the Curry from Crystal Palace, okay, might not gain so much interest. He will be banned for the first game on game week 27, okay. But the rest pretty much are same in terms of suspension rates. Ruben Neves have 9 yellow cards. Tony is there with 8. So pretty much if he actually pick up the yellow cards in these two games, he will play both games. And then after that, we need to consider in game 28 or 29. But the rest, not much interest. I mean, so what you can make of this ban list?
Right. So the thing with the band list is that all three of them are quite integral. They're not great FPL wise, but they are quite integral to their respective squads, because they really help to shore up that midfield. So I do feel that it will have an impact on the results of this weekend's matches. In terms of the suspension wise, it is just Tony hanging around there at 8. So the risk is whether he might pick up additional cards to get suspended for the next game week. If he picks up one card, but I don't think it's something we need to worry about. It's 8, it's not 9. If it was 9, it's a bit different story.
Yep.
But yeah, 8, yeah, we'll worry about that when we cross the bridge. Unless he gets red carded, which is total freak different story altogether. So yeah, I'm trying to quietly curse him if I don't pick him. So anyway, so that's it. No real impact there.
Okay, all right. In terms of captaincy pick, like we mentioned in midweek, Tony has gained a lot of popularity. Okay, he's been picked by 41% managers in terms of armband for this week. He do play two games against Everton and Southampton, who have been struggling. Second, Mitoma. Okay, Brighton also have really good fixture. I think Crystal Palace and also Leeds, right? And then Salah added. If you want to, again, Salah could actually produce any double-digit haul, like 21 points last week against Bournemouth. You just expect him to produce a same performance. So 6% actually voted him also. So pretty much Tony on radar. But just want to point out, I think I read somewhere in Twitter,
Yes.
Brentford has only won 2 away games so far this season. And out of 11 matches, I suppose. So that's the caveat that you need to think when captaining Tony, because Brentford do play these 2 games away from their home. So that's something to think, but pretty much everyone going to captain Tony.
I think the thing with that stat is that even though Brentford's away record has not been great in terms of getting results, but they are scoring goals though. So that's why, and so we don't know if Brentford scores goals, Tony will more often than not be involved. So I'm just taking a look in game week 16. They won against Manchester City 2-1.
Yep.
And Tony scored both goals, crazy enough. And and against West Ham, also an away match, they won 2-0. And again, Tony was scored an assist. So after that, there was only 2 away games, Leeds and Arsenal, and they drew both those matches 0-0 and 1-1. And the Arsenal 1-1 game, guess who scored?
Yep. a controversial one. Yep.
Yeah, controversial one, but yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be, it was a VAR issue. Yeah, so even though overall the away record isn't that great, but he's still scoring goals.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Another point I want to make, Tony has 25 bonus points so far. It's like one bonus point each match. If I want to spread out. Yeah.
that's insane.
So yeah.
So, so yeah, it's yeah. I mean, all signs point to Tony. I feel like I'm suicidal not to go for Tony because I am still pondering that. And sorry, you just made me want to look at the top bonus points, and Tony is number 4 in the top bonus points together. Trippier
Okay.
is the top, followed by
Okay.
Haaland and Kane, and then Tony.
All right. Okay, fair. Okay, mate, let's go to our team. I go to my team first, mate. Okay, pretty
Yep,
much I'm rolling my transfer. I did share my team during the
yep.
big week. I will have 6 doublers from the game week 26 wildcard. I have Raya in goal. I have Henry, and then I will play Trippier at home against Wolves. I hope Trippier will return at least a clean sheet against Wolves. I have Estupinan. I have two Brighton midfielder, which in terms of Solly March and Mitoma, if March might miss because of any doubt, but I will play him. I have Rashford against Southampton, who could be another good candidates for captaincy, but he only play one. I have Saka against Fulham. And then Kane, I'm stuck with Kane right now. Forest at home, Haaland, Palace away, and then Tony, my captain for this double game week. I will bench Kepa, Odegaard, who might actually miss this game, Botman and Gabriel. There's possibility a good opportunity for bench boost, but I think I will roll my transfer.
I think you're all set. No
Yeah,
problem.
I'm set.
Yeah, you're pretty much set. The Odegaard thing has made it easier actually. So because there's always a bit of dilemma about benching Odegaard, but then now that he's not going to be 100% fit, then this makes it easier. So yeah.
Okay, man, let's go to your team.
All
If you
right.
have
Yep. Hang on. Okay, so my team, I am a bit more as usual. Well, not as usual, but quite a dilemma actually. Oh, hang on, why can't I just sorry, it's just taking a while for me to pick. Okay, here you go.
yep.
Can you see my screen?
You
Okay.
see your team,
All
yeah.
right. So let me just. Okay. So firstly, a lot of dilemmas. First, my keeper. So I got Sa and Ward, and both players. I have both. Okay. Background is that I only have 7 players available for next game week. So both Sa and Ward play. So I'm not going to get rid of either of them. So the question is who to decide between Sa and Ward in terms of who starts. So I like the idea of Ward as the home keeper because I don't think there's much difference between either team.
Okay.
Because
We both
Newcastle,
we both scored 11 points last week.
yeah, that was a stroke a lot, I tell you. So Newcastle and Chelsea both aren't exactly free scoring teams, so it could really be other ones. So, but I'll be honest, I'm tempted to. At the moment, I'm more inclined to Ward, given the fact that Chelsea has quite a few injuries. So at the moment, that's Ward. Okay, I'll leave that. So I have me from last week. He did nothing. So hopefully I get a bit return this week. Because the only 3 out was Pinnock who got a goal, but the Henry and Pinnock didn't. Henry and Pinnock didn't. Then Trippier and Saliba, who also both who will stay here because they also play in game week 28. So I have my captaincy currently on Salah, and this is obviously because I haven't made any transfers yet. And because if I do transfer, then if I get Tony in, then maybe it's Tony. So Saka Mitoma, who did well for me last week, so obviously he comes in. So Andreas looks a possibility to go, given that he doesn't play next week, and if I need to stock up in my double gamers, and the
Do
reason
you
is,
have 2 transfer, mate?
pardon,
You have 2 free transfer or one? This week?
one.
One. Okay.
Last week also I took hit. So okay, so The other then in the forward line, Nacho, Darwin, and Haaland. So Darwin, who scored last week, and then there's Haaland, but Nacho is looks the candidate to if I to sell if I want to transfer into Tony. The problem is Nacho.
Do
The problem
play.
is Nacho also plays in game week 28. So
Yeah, understand.
it's a big problem for me. And the other problem is the other people on my bench who I want to sell are cheap, Bueno and Patterson. So they're not going to get me any funds. So if I sell Nacho to Tony, it doesn't give me funds to update my team elsewhere. So which means I'm still going to be one person short. At least I might be two. I might end up with two people short for game week 28 if I do Nacho to Tony. So that's my dilemma. So I considered doing what As of Black Box did, which is selling Haaland to Tony, but I don't think it's that incremental enough. I do feel Haaland has a potential to fall against Palace, which leaves Darwin. And so
Oh no, man! Please, no, that.
so this is a problem. So Darwin is the best candidate for me to sell to buy Darwin Tony because it will also give me funds to upgrade my defense into a Brentford player. And I'm not. I've ruled out Brighton because they're not going to play next week. So and because I'm not using my wild card, so it will be a Brentford player, most likely Henry or Pinnock. If I go Darwin to I can't even bring myself to say it. If I bring Tony, yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay,
So,
I pretty much if I know it's gonna be pain if you move out any of those forward in terms of ni Hiencho, yeah, you got a point. He played 28, so it's something that unreasonable if you're taking him out. But I feel from this lineup, I do think Hiencho could be the player that you should move. In terms of minutes, might not be as secret as you know, but he could come in and start at any time. But we know when you bring in Tony, he's going to play 5 games for the next 3 game weeks. If we are lucky, if it did not be got any yellow cards, he played 2 games in this week, 28 one and then 29 2 games if we stick with him. So if I since you already mentioned you only have one free transfer, I think that's your priority, and then you can think of whether to captaining Tony or not. You could actually continue to captain Salah. There's no issue on that. You pretty much that kind of manager. Okay. And there's could be another option if you bring in Brighton midfielder. You have 2 games for this week, but they do blank next week. I understand that, but if you
no, I'm just
JWP,
testing. I'm just testing. I want to see how much I have left if I do that. 0.2 doesn't give me any much money to upgrade elsewhere.
but Andreas did produce 2 assists last week against Arsenal. Maybe they so. I will do only one transfer. Get him Tony, and then set for the game week.
I'll have to think. It's a problem. Huge problem.
Okay, let's go to the question, Min.
Yeah.
FPL post question. Let's see. March captaining. Sorry, March. I'm not sure because he is still doubt for playing this game. Pretty much.
I don't think it's a doubt though. I think he's ready.
Okay, all right.
So it's hard between the three, and so yeah, you could captain him. It seems like in terms of positioning and chances, he's the one who gets the most. So I guess it seems to be more the fact that he's not clinical as Mitoma is. Mitoma has the worst XG apparently, but then he still scored last week anyway. So he's supposedly Mitoma is outperforming his XG.
I lost Azmin. Let's
You lost me.
heavy. Okay, you're back.
Eh,
Let's go to the next question. Heavy snow in UK. Is it true info? I'm not too sure. Heard
Okay,
something
so
like this, but yeah.
can you hear me?
Yep, yep.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of Twitter news going on. Yeah, and it is true. There is a lot of snow going on in the Leeds area, the northern up north. So the question is it going to subside a bit today? And from the current accounts, it is, but at the moment it is 2 o'clock in the morning in UK. So let's see how it is come when in the morning. But at the moment there is heavy snow, but the current forecast projection is that it will subside in time, sufficient time before the match, because when it comes to this kind of issue, the issue isn't about the stadium. The stadium usually is fine because they got enough central heating, underground heating. The issue is the danger to the fans traveling. So if it's to the point where the roads are closed or the trains are closed, then the match, that only then will the match be called off. So there is a risk. So we
Okay,
cannot we'll just have to wait and see tonight.
okay. Hopefully, it won't affect the Everton Brentford match and also the Leeds and Brighton. That's
It is just the Leeds and Brighton match because they're the ones in that area of risk.
okay. We just pray for the best. Let's go next one. Rashford as a captain for this week against Southampton. I think yeah, I did mention that he could be another possibility. Rashford really on form, but he only played one game, so that's all. What do you think, man?
No, I just think that I think Manchester United will win and probably Rashford will score, but I think the likes of Tony may, because Southampton's defense has improved of late. Yeah, so I'm not keen. Yeah.
Right, Salah, is it a trap this game week? I don't think so. If I have him, I will definitely play him. But if you are wildcarding and thinking of staying Salah in that team, that's another story. What do you think, man?
Well, for me, it's a case of if you are wildcarding, why the hell are you captaining? Why? Sorry. No. Okay, that's if you're captaining. Sorry, I got it wrong. So is Salah trapped this game week? I don't think so. I
No,
think he's
I don't
still.
think so.
I think Liverpool will carry on. They it's unlikely they'll Bournemouth will get their discipline gone like Manchester United did. But because Bournemouth are used to not winning, so it just won't be as big as the scoreline we saw last week.
Could Tony be like Dennis, double game week drama all over again? Like we heard, I think Brentford is a different team than Watford, more consistent. We already see that Brentford can produce goals even with the big teams. So that's pretty much. I think it's a different case, man.
Yeah, Brentford Frank is a better manager. Let's just put it at that. So and Brentford are quite stable. They're pushing. So yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Odegaard whether is fit of against Fulham, we are not sure. He's been yellow flag, so we shall see in terms whether he'll start. There's a doubt there. Mr. Shaft did ask if I want to pick any Brentford defender, which one? If money is not the issue, me, Henry, or Pinot, me. You have me, I have Henry. There's not much different, right?
So the answer is Pinnock, isn't it? um,
So
uh,
Pinot did scored last week. That's why.
yeah, I'd like to go with the probability because if Pinnock has got, we're not gonna see a defender back to back goal score. So if now you had to pick one, I'd probably go for Henry. Yeah, I have me myself, but that wing back potential is there. So Henry.
If not using free hit in game week 28, okay, all right, he's going to set up his team until game week 29, okay, the long haul. Which better move? Martinelli to Mitoma or Martinelli to Madison? Or is it just between Madison or Mitoma? Which one you favor me?
I'm still stuck at the fact you're transferring out Martinelli. But okay, I'll just ignore that. The fact that which I think is insane. But anyway, Mitoma or Madison, I would go for Mitoma. Yeah, Madison is always a risk because right now there's the injury. He keeps mentioning about how he has some niggles, and although he ends up playing, but he may not be optimum. So I go Mitoma.
Understand. My quick answer, I feel like Madison could be the one because he's actually the talisman for Leicester. He take everything except
Um,
penalty. But the thing is, okay, we all know Brighton gonna have like a few double game
blank.
week upcoming. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's why Mitoma is he's cheap and he could be actually be in your team, start in your team and just play whenever that double game week coming. So
also, yeah.
that's why.
Also, if you have enough players for game week 28, then the Martinelli to Mitoma should not be an issue. If this assumes you have enough players for game week 28.
Who to play? Shah. I guess this week, yes, Wolves, Martinelli away to Fulham or what case away to West Ham. It's going to be tough call, man.
And in direct contradiction to the previous question, Martinelli versus Fulham. It's just that Martinelli seems like he's quite likely to play in front up top, which as an ROP for Arsenal who are at the top of the league, chasing the title.
Okay.
There's a lot of pressure.
I agree with Azmin. The upside of Martinelli is high comparing those two players. Okay, that's what I feel. I agree with me. Nelson, I'm not too sure in terms of good pan. Nelson,
No,
we just don't know.
no. It's too much of a risk, and you're risking 1 week, and he may not play again. Yeah, so no.
This I like this question from Mr. Saf. Like Azmin did mention, is Mbomo an option if you can't afford Tony?
So yeah. I was considering this myself because it looked like so that I would also have funds to upgrade another player. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I still had to sell someone who plays in game week 20. Either I sell Nacho, same problem, which is selling Nacho, who plays in game week 28, or selling Haaland, who I think might haul this week. So, but anyway, that ignoring my situation, I think it is. I think he's came close to quite a few occasions. I know last season he was known as a hit the post kind of guy. But I think he's improved, and I think he can return this week. So yeah,
Okay.
I think he
Actually,
is.
I watched a quick highlight Brentford against Fulham, and Mbomo had two really big chance to score.
I
So
see.
from Henry crosses and also his actually own effort. So I think pretty much Mboma an option. I do also realize that he doesn't explode. Okay, but he did score a double digit somewhere this season, 16 points, something like that. I think for Mbomo. Other than that, he had at least two double digit 12 points in game week 19 against Liverpool and also Southampton. I think, yeah, that's all. Last question from Rakat FPL Sanchez, the issue. Sanchez to steal or Sanchez to poke if you want to make the move.
It really depends on your squad. Because Sanchez to steal, because obviously you're short by one double gamer, assuming you're going to feel steal this week, then yeah, I'd say go for steal. Um, Newcastle don't look great at the moment, so steal it is.
All right, man, we come to the end of the stream. Okay. So as we all know, Game Week 27 will be at 7 p.m. today, before that kickoff Brentford versus Liverpool. So I think pretty much we are set for our team. Okay. And then we have another game week next week, Game Week 28, before we take a break because of the international fixture. Man. So what's your last word for this game week?
It's a try to wait until closer to the deadline just to get the right info about the snow. let's say the snow has affected. The worst case scenario is, let's say the um, snow has affected the Leeds Brighton game. Then you have to consider, is your single gamer on the bench going to outscore your Brighton players? Yeah, because then the Brighton players become a single gamer. And of course, if Brighton players become a single gamer, I think that pretty much rules out the captaincy for a Brighton player. Yeah, I mean, I we don't current most likely it won't happen, but if it does happen, you need to prepare and be ready. That's it.
All right. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for watching. If you are here, do hit the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi Show YouTube channel. Okay. Until then, good luck. May the force be with you, and see you again next week. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.